Oh, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Markdown previewer for free code camps challenges. This is one of the front end challenges. Super pissed off because I made this video last night in one big hour-long chunk, and something corrupted in the video file, the software that records it, and I lost the whole entire video. I made the whole thing without any, just straight through, no dry run, no practice. I mean, I have worked with some of this type of technology before, but I hadn't done this project per these recommendations. Yeah, so first thing we're going to do is they've got all the requirements. They want us to build this Markdown previewer. They want us to have all this different stuff. And I'm going to build it in Codepen. And this is the link right here that brings the testing into the Codepen. So let's set up some Codepen stuff. I'm going to go create a new Codepen here. And in our JavaScript, I'm just going to paste in that code, the testing bundle from Free Code Camp. So you can see we've got the testing bundle here. I like to open up the in the change view here, the live view. You might not have that if you don't have a paid account. You can use the debug view or full screen view or whatever you like to do. But I like to expand this out and have more room for coding. So what else we're going to do to set up the project? We are now going to we're going to use React for this project. So we're going to add React, and it's version 16.4 as of this video, but use the latest version. And of course we need React DOM. We're going to add that in. And we need this thing called Marked. So they're saying right here that you don't need to parse the Markdown yourself. You can import the Marked library for this from here, but we can just search for it, and we'll just bring it in from there. So we've got the testing, the React DOM, and Marked. So that's a good start. Save that. And in our HTML, all we really need to add is a div. I'm going to give it an ID of root. Okay. Then most of the rest of it's going to be CSS and JS. One more quick thing I want to add, since we are using React, I want the preprocessor of Babel or whatever it's called. We want to use that so we can use the latest JavaScript stuff. And the first thing we want to do here is just set up a basic boilerplate. We'll say class app extends React.component. We'll say render and return. And we'll return, right now we'll just return a div that says Markdown previewer. Close that off. And at the very bottom here, we'll say React DOM.render. Make sure you capitalize DOM.render. And we'll render this app component with a self-closing tag and a comma. And then we'll just select that element using document.getElement by ID. And we'll select that root element that we created in our HTML. And now we've got everything working. You can see the Markdown previewer is there. So we're off to a good start. Now, if you don't know what Markdown is, you should look into what Markdown is. It's just basically a way to add some structure and style to plain text, and you give it it's a very lightweight markup language. So like HTML is a markup language where you use these tags and different things to change the appearance of your text. So let's get this up and running real quick. So I'm going to create, outside of the React class, I'm just going to create a variable that contains a string. So that's basically all that this Markdown is. A Markdown is going to take a string of text, and that marked library is going to take a string of text, because we're going to use Markdown in there, and it's going to take that string, and then it's going to spit back out HTML based on that Markdown. So Markdown, if you look into it, you can make headers, you can make lists, you can do images, links, bold text, italic text, all kinds of different things, block quotes, and those become different HTML elements based on this Marked.js library. So we're going to get it up and running like this. We're just going to say const, we'll just say initial Markdown. I'm just going to put it in backticks just to make sure it preserves its formatting. And, you know, you can learn all these from watching this video, or you can learn it on another site. I'm going to give different sections a level 3 heading. That's what those 3 hash marks are. Right, so just to test it out, I'm going to say 1 hash mark is a header 1, 2 hash marks is a header 2, slightly smaller, 3 hash marks is a header 3, slightly smaller than that. Like, you know, it comes out to H1, H2, H3 from HTML. So we can test this Markdown renderer like that. So what we need to do here is, let's kind of wrap this in a container. If like this, tab that over, and then below it is where we'll start building out the app. So this will be, let's give this a class name, a container for now. And this is where the actual previewer is going to live here. So I figure for the previewer, we kind of want to have that text area where you can input on the left, and then the preview of the HTML output on the right. So you're looking at a side-by-side sort of thing. I think that's the way to go. So I'm going to have 2 divs in here. I'm going to have the left div that contains the text area. And I'm going to have a right-hand div, class name of right. That's going to contain the preview area. And if we go back to some of these tasks here, like we can just look at these tasks for the run the test, and we can see that somehow we've already passed the test. We haven't really done anything, so that's good. They want a text area with the ID editor. That's where you input things, and then they want an element with the ID preview. That's where you see the HTML output. So we can add those in. So within the left-hand side, we'll stick a text area and give it an ID of editor. Self-closing tag is fine there. And then within here, we're going to make another div. This is going to have an ID of preview. That can also have a self-closing tag there. Save that and run our test again. You see we're already passing 3. We're already passing those first 2 tests. So we gotta give it a little bit of structure here, because all we're seeing is this weird little text area up in the corner, right? So why don't we change this to an H1 tag? That'll help a little bit. Next, let's just test this Markdown here. So we added that Marked.js package, and that's available on a global variable here because we're in the browser. It's going to be marked with a lowercase m. So I'll show you right here. What I'm going to do here is the classic constructor, constructor, set up for a React class component. Within it, we'll say this.state. And we'll call the state Markdown, and we'll start it off as that initial Markdown, which is this we just created up here, right? And then in this preview div, what we're going to do is this is how you have to set it up with React. Just to show you the difference here, take away that self-closing tag, make a closing tag, and in it, so we have this in curlies because we're doing a JavaScript expression. We can say marked, and then we'll pass in this.state.markdown. to that marked global function from the library, which is we're going to pass in this, and it's going to change this into HTML for us. Just to give you an idea of what it's doing, so you get a deeper understanding of what's up. All right. So now we come over. Looks like we might be getting some kind of error here. Initial markdown is not defined. Probably a typo here. Inish, yeah, I forgot an I right there. So initial markdown. Okay, let's go back and see now. Okay, here we go. Refresh it. Errors are cleared. So you can see that, first of all, we don't have any CSS going on. And second of all, that marked, it's turning, okay, that's just the title there. But here's our 1, header 1, our 2, header 2. You can see it's making them H1, H2, H3. But it's not, it's printing out the plain text. It's not printing out the HTML that we want to be in there. So what we actually need to do, because this is in React, we need to, we just kind of get rid of that for a second. Get rid of that, make it a self-closing tag again. And we say, and here we say, actually say dangerously set inner HTML, the prop basically, and pass that in an object like this, underscore underscore HTML as a property, and that property we will pass marked, and we'll pass that state markdown, and we'll see what we get now. So now let's refresh it to clear the errors again. See that we're not getting errors. You can see that we are now getting Markdown is turning into valid HTML for us. And that is basically a lot of the project right there. We've got basically plain text using set it equal to state, and now we're using React's dangerously set inner HTML and the Marked.js library to turn this plain text into structured HTML. And that's pretty cool. So we're doing that. Now let's set some styles up just to make it look good. I never like to make these videos about CSS, but you might learn something in here, especially if you're new to coding. We're going to use display of grid, and we're going to use grid template columns and pass in 50%, 50%. That means we're sticking 2 divs inside this container, and each one's going to get 50% of the screen. In this case, it's the .left that we made and the right classes that we made here. So let's see, we can make, we'll try width of 95%, height, say 100, let's say something hardcoded here, 90 VH, which is viewport height, and we'll match it on this side, and we'll take a look and we'll adjust after this. Start them off as being equal. And we'll also give this one a border, the right hand side, a border of 1 pixel solid, defaults to black, right? So okay, now we've got some structure here. At least we've got them split apart. It's a little too big. I just want to keep it on 1 page. So first let's make that the editor, which is the text area. We'll make that fill up its container, which is the left hand side. So we'll just do 100%, 100% for that. And it's a little too tall, so let's cut down to 85 and see where 85 gets us on the height of both of those containers. Alright, so now we're staying within 1 page. We're pretty close in height here. It's a little bit off, I think, just due to some default of the text area, but I mean, maybe I'll make this 84, I don't know. 84.5. They look pretty close. All right, not a big deal, but looks nice like this. So that's cool. All right. So one thing I hate is this blue outline when you select the text area. I despise that. And we can get rid of that by going to this editor component and under outline, none, save that, come back, select it, no more blue line. Maybe you didn't know that. That's cool. Then we've also got the preview component. I want to give these both just a little bit of padding to keep the text away from the edge. So I'm just going to start with 0.25 VW, which is viewport width. Just a small amount of padding. See what that looks like. Looks maybe a little more over on that side. Okay, that looks okay. And we want to get in this text area. Let's give it a value of this.state.markdown and give it an on change. We'll just call it handle change. So this.handle change. And right here underneath our constructor, we can put a handle change. E is for event. And this.setState, this.setState, Markdown. Since we're only having one thing, we don't need to get too fancy. This.target or e.target.value. Boom, save that. Now we come back. Looks like we got a typo somewhere. Or an error somewhere. It's acting strange. Just close it and reopen it. Oh, it's fine. Don't know what that was, but as you can see now, that string we made is coming in here, and the output is over here now. And we can now add to this text area, and it's producing Markdown for us live and on the spot, which is what we wanted. Good progress so far. Where are we at with our testing? We're now passing 5 out of 9 tests. We're able to update, which passes step 3. Apparently, GitHub flavored Markdown works from the Marked library. Now it wants us to represent a header, an H2, a link, some inline code, a code block, a list item, a block quote image, and bold text. That's a lot to remember, but we'll start on that. So how to add that? We'll just work off our initial Markdown here. And just to make it thorough, say header 4, header 5, header 6, and that's it for headers. And they wanted a list, so a list is pretty simple. You just put a dash and a space. Say list item 1, list item 2, list item 3, like that. That's pretty easy. They wanted links. Links are fairly straightforward. You do closed brackets, parentheses, and here you put the link text. So, for example, free code camp, and we'll say https:// I think it's learn.freecodecamp.org. You can see that link pops up. I'll right click it, open it in a new tab just to test it. It's working. Okie dokie. That's good. You can also do links with titles or tooltips, if you will. So I don't know, Google then you add a space, and in parentheses or in quotes, you just say, I don't know, worlds. I guess I'll put in double quotes. Worlds, most popular search engine. Save that just to show you some different stuff you can do. Then you highlight that link, and you'll see that tooltip pops out. That's just one more thing you can add. Just one more thing you can add with Markdown. They also wanted some bold text, so I'll show you some of the different, I'll just call them text decorations. You can actually do italic with 1 star. 2 stars is bold. I believe you can use underscores as well. 3 is bold and italic. So you'll notice now we're overflowing it. We are getting italic, bold, and italic, but we're overflowing this container. So we're going to have to adjust that real quick. Go to CSS, and that's our right container. We'll just say overflow. Try auto, see what happens there. Okay, good. We got the scroll bar, and now everything is fitting in perfectly. Different versions, this worked. Different versions, like I've never used Marked before, but I've used Remarkable. It's a similar kind of markdown parser, if you will, or whatever you want to call it. And that allows for highlights, superscript, subscript, and I'm not sure if this supports, I know it doesn't support underlined and highlighted. I tried that. I'm not going to get into that. You can look into that on your own and see if there's options or what different things, but we're just going for the test here. They also want an image. So images. Image is very similar to a link, except you start it with an exclamation point, and this is the alt text right here, and you provide the link inside the parentheses to the sub image. Let's find an image of, I don't know, a pit bull, and not the wrapper. Let's find a good one here. A lot of good ones. I like this guy. Looks like my dog. And just copy the address. Paste it in there. Save it. And we got our image. So that's pretty cool. You can stick images in. And just like with links, you put a space, put some quote, put cute, pit bull, and quotes like that, and you should be getting a tooltip. There we go. There's your tooltip. They also want, what, a block quote. That's just a, I guess that's a greater than symbol and a space, and then I don't know, to be or not to be. That is a stupid question. Save that. And we're getting the indentation here. So it's registering. It's not adding any additional styling, but whatever. That's a block quote. They want code. What do they want? Code and inline code, I believe. Inline code, a code block. Those are the last two things we want to do. So we'll just say code. And inline code would be in backticks. You'd say, like, you know, npm install create react app -g, And you notice we're getting an error here. That's because we're including backticks within backticks. In order to get around that, before each backtick, all you have to do is add a backslash, and that will escape the character for you. And save it, and we'll come over here, and you'll notice over here the backticks show up. And it's hard to tell, but you're getting a different font. You're getting this default monospace font rather than whatever the default font is. And I don't like this default font. I don't like these serif fonts with the little Times New Roman fonts. I'm going to change that real quick. I'll just show you something on Codepen that's pretty straightforward. You go to Assets down here, click Assets, over to Fonts. It just supplies some quick links. I like Roboto. Click this down arrow, click Copy Link, and close that back over. And we go into the HTML settings here. We can add this viewport setting. It's a good one to add. And then we'll just paste in. I want to put a closing tag on it like that too. And this brings in Roboto from Google's font repository like that. And then to add that across the board, the easiest thing to do is up at the top here, just an asterisk, which selects everything in the document, and we'll just say font family. Let's say Roboto. I remember if we need a comma or not. No, I think maybe we do. Arial. Sans serif. I can't remember if you put a comma there or not. Seems to be working like this. This is the Roboto font. So it's all good. I like the look of that a little bit better. And then they also want a code block. Code blocks are done with triple backticks. And of course, we have to escape all those. You do triple backticks like that. In between them is where you put your code. So just whatever. Just something quick and easy here. Oops. Make up a random function here. You can see that gets spit out. We're not seeing too much just because I changed the font, but I will show you how to add highlighting to this momentarily and to do something different with this for styling momentarily. I'll run our test. We're now passing 7 of 9. The only 2 tests are these optional bonus tests, where one is being able to open a link in a new tab and interprets carriage returns as line breaks. So let's look into some of the stuff for the marked library here. I always search npm marked, you'll get it first off. And I like to go right to the GitHub repository, even though the pages are often very similar. And here, let's look into some of the options. Here's some stuff on the highlighter. Right here is what they want for that optional. Breaks are false by default. So we need to be able to configure this. So in order to configure it, it wants us to use this set options function and pass it an object with the configuration. So they're using something called mymark. They're using the require syntax, which would be cool in Node, but we don't need that because we're in the browser. We already have the marked global variable. So we can just say marked.setOptions. That's a function, pass it in an object. And we say breaks true. That comes from right here, passing in an option. And that just means that if there's a carriage return, and that's why I did it with italics, or with literal syntax, so it recognizes all the carriage returns in there. without having to explicitly write them. So that's why I put all the spacing in, because we didn't have breaks turned on. But now they're on, and it's still all good. Let me see if I can show you an example of why you want breaks on. So where are those links? So let me put those links right next to each other like that. All right, we've got breaks on right now. So with breaks on, they're on separate lines because there's a line break. Now if we set breaks to false, let's see if we see a difference. Now with breaks false, we're no longer getting the line break on a carriage return. And a carriage return just means I hit return in here. I hit enter and went to a new line. Okay. Right here. So I'm going to have 2 breaks in there just because that's how I like to structure it. But we'll turn breaks back to true because that's for passing a test. But that's what breaks are. Hopefully that makes sense. Right. So we'll run the test. Notice we're now passing 8 of 9. And before we hit this last one where we want links to open up in a new tab, before they did, but that was because I right-clicked the link. You'll notice if we just left-click a link, it didn't open it in a new window. It's opening it within this Codepen thing, and that's not what we want. We want it to open it up in a new window. We'll get to that in a minute. Next, we need to figure out, I want to show you how to highlight code and some other things you can do with this. So they're using this Highlight.js. They're using an inline require statement, which would be great on Node. Again, we're not on Node. We're in the browser. We have to do this a little differently, okay? They're using Highlight.js. So let's see here. Let's see if we can find Highlight.js as a package. And there it is, Highlight.js. Bring that into the fold. You can see it's added down here. Save that. We can look into that real quick. It's actually Highlight.js. Let's look at the GitHub page. Okay, that's not the GitHub page. Current source code. Maybe they'll get us to GitHub. Okay, here we are in GitHub. And just different information on the package. I'm trying to find a spot where it tells you what the global variable is. I know what it is, so I can't find the spot right off the bat, so I'll just tell you. We'll go back to the mark documentation. So it takes the options object takes a highlight property, and we can say, okay, that's a function that gets code and returns that Highlight.js package, and then off of that, a property of that Highlight.js package, highlight auto code.value. Okay. So in our options here, we can say highlight. Of course, that's a function of code, apparently. Put a comma there. And we want that to return. They use a require statement. We'll use the global variable, which is HLJS. Sometimes these are a little tricky. I haven't figured out a good way to find out what these are for everything consistently, but I know this is HLJS dot highlight auto, passing in the code, and then the value of that is what we want returned. So save that, and we'll notice nothing has changed. I thought we wanted to highlight these. So what Highlight.js does is, in this case, okay, we're passing this raw text right here in between these triple backticks. That lets Marked know that, okay, we're passing in code. We want this code highlighted because it's a code block, right? So we're telling Marked, okay, when you get this code block, we want to pass it to this HLJS package, which what it really does is it breaks each little piece of it up into different parts and gives those different parts a class name corresponding to that part, right? So we need a style sheet from Highlight.js. So let's look in the source under styles, and they have a ton of these are different style sheets. How do you want your code to look? Doesn't really matter. Okay, Atom 1 dark, whatever. And you'll see these .hljs classes with different colors. So I'm just going to go to View Raw, Control A to select all, copy it, come back in here, come back to my CSS, go down to the bottom, and just paste it in. And this is a comment, which I will promptly erase. And then save that, come back over, and now you notice we've got some highlighting in our code now. New function, the function's a keyword, returns a keyword, this is the name of a function. So it's highlighting some stuff for us. To see other things, we could expand on this code. We could also say, I don't know, say const name equals, put something in quotes here, we'll give it a string. We'll say name is Benjamin, const age equals 37. And you notice I never use semicolons. I hate semicolons, but you can totally use them. It's personal preference. We could say const, I don't know, const number equals math dot random times 10. I don't know. These are just to see if maybe a string looks different, a number looks different, a constant looks different, math looks different, just to get an idea. And there you go. You can see we're getting, string is green, a number is this brown, this is a little bit math. Built-in things are a little bit different. So you can see that you're getting some different colors for different things with the package. And you can take any of these CSS style sheets, and if you copy and paste them now, you can change things. You can make. Take a look here. Okay, strings are coming out to this color right here. Copy that. I like to keep a color picker in my browser tool, so you can see that's that green. If you want, maybe you want to change the string color to I don't know, darker green. You take that, select it, and then come right to your own style sheet now, and just paste any value you want in there. Come back, and you'll notice now it's darker green. So you can do whatever you want with these code blocks. And if you go to the dev tools here, clearing them because those are old errors, refresh will show you, okay, we have no errors. It's just a live view, so when you do any little thing, it updates and it throws an error. Anyway, go to this little selector tool here, right? And you'll notice that this is a code element, and then this is a pre-element with a code element inside it. So let's take a closer look. You'll notice this top one is a code element, and this bottom one is a pre with a code inside of it. So pre is pre-formatted text. That means it kind of keeps the spacing and so forth, how you initially put it in there. That's why this return is bumped over a little bit and so forth. If you want to style this code here, a lot of sites do that. You can do that very easily just by doing your own style. Just the code. You say, okay, I want to give it a background color. I want to give it a color, maybe some padding. maybe a border radius. And I'll go to my color picker and see what I can find here. I like this red. You'll see this set up a lot. I like that for the actual text, which would be the color. Make sure we add our hash mark there. And then typically the background will be like a really light red or something, like a pink almost. Snag that, pop that in. Probably want to give it a little bit of padding. I'll do my 0.25 and 0.5 maybe. Border radius, I don't know, standard 5 pixels, just a little bit subtle. And give it some style. And you notice this looks cool now. Okay, cool. We got like some styling here that we like, but then we don't want this. But they're both code elements. How do we get around that? So I knew this wasn't going to be about CSS, but this actually is a little bit about CSS. So we can say pre-code. We say, wait, background color here. Oh, we actually want that white for now. And we want our color here to be black. Okay. That returns that back to normal. Padding 0 just to get the spacing back to normal. In any event, now you've seen, okay, we can do that and still preserve that. And a lot of people like to make this black. You could have made you can make the background black. You know what I mean? Say you want those, make the background black. Just say, okay, I want the background to be, well, a lot of times it's not actually black. It's like a dark gray. Something like that maybe is what you see a lot. How do we make our code look cool? Oh, do that. And make the color white. Since the color was black, you wouldn't be able to see anything. See what that gets us. Okay, it's starting to look cooler. Of course, that green that we changed kind of looks weird. It's a little too dark, but let's not worry about that. Okay, this does not look right. We want it to all be black. How do we do that? Well, we can just say display. This is one of the only times you'll probably ever use this, but inline dash block. Like, when would anyone ever want to use that? How about now? Okay, it clearly looks like this needs some padding now. Trying to give it the same padding as that. Okay. It's looking a bit cooler now, right? Like, when you're sharing code, it's like, okay. I almost think that border radius is too much. I'll go down to 2.5. A little bit better. So now your code, you know, you can add some additional styles. It looks cool. And the last thing they want us to do, the last test, is this optional, okay, when I click a link, we want it to open up in a new, so all links should have, basically you need to apply target.blank to a link. So how do we do that? And this is where you can really customize Marked. I'm starting to learn Marked is actually really cool. There's a lot of customization you can do, but they don't really give you the greatest documentation on that. And I'll show you. So here, first of all, they call it extensibility. Okay, it should be called like customization, really. But they're saying, can you extend the functionality? Yes, you can. And here they give you some examples. So basically here they say, okay, you can isolate the renderer. And then when you're doing your settings, you can reset this renderer, right? Just like we did the highlight. So here they're doing some special thing for headings. Here we're concerned with the link, but you can of course add your own custom style functions to anything, right? So let's find, where's link? Link is an inline. Here we go, link. So link, and they're giving you the parameters that each one receives. So link will get an href, a title, and a text. The title is for tooltips. We're not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to get it to that target blank stage. So see how you override it. You say render.heading is a function of something, and then it looks like you return a string with the new markup you want. So see how it's a little shady on the how to do this, but I'll walk you through it. So in here, before we set our options, we're actually going to say, we'll say var renderer is going to be a new marked dot capital renderer, and then we can say renderer dot link equals a function of href title text. And how did we get that? We went off this sort of shady documentation, but I was able to understand it. It doesn't really give you the best for maybe a brand new person in coding, but I was able to figure some things out. Plus, I've worked with other stuff like this before. Right here, it's saying, okay, it's giving you a string for the ref, a string for the title, a string for the text. And following this example up here, where you just say dot heading, in this case, it's dot link is a function, and now we want to return the new thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to say return in backticks. We're going to return that a element with an href, and we're going to use the $sign curly brackets to pass in that variable from the function. We're going to say target equals underscore blank. Close that off. Closing a tag. And in here, we're going to pop the text. Now, there's no more room for the tooltip. We'd have to, if you wanted to do a tooltip, you could say, well, if title, and then, I probably use a library that had a tooltip component built in. That would be my best bet. And then wrap the a tag inside that tooltip. That's like how material design would work or whatever. But we're not going that far. We don't need to go that far. This is how you extend, and you can do this for anything. Customize your own components. Make a block quote look how you want it. Add. I could return right here. I could return anything I want. I could return a pink upside down heading if I wanted to. You could totally customize everything through this feature. But it wants a string with the actual markup, and then in order for it to work, here you need to set the render or option. In this case, we named our variable renderer, so due to JavaScript's coolness, this is the same as saying, okay, the renderer is renderer. That's the same exact thing because we declared this variable as renderer. Just like that. And you could remove this. You could put highlight, var highlight equals this function, and just write highlight here, but we don't really need to do that. So we save it, go back to our project, take a look, go to our links, and boom, it opened up in a new page. Everything is working according to plan. Just to double check, clear those errors out, get to our little selector tool, click on that, and you'll notice now we have that target blank because we customized the output with Marked. So look into Marked. Marked has a lot of cool things. Markdown is pretty cool. I have a website that I use with a different package called Remarkable. I made a blog. I'll leave the links. Basically, I made it so I can create a blog here with, I told you I hated that blue outline, but it went with the theme here. So I made my own blog post generator where I can, generate whatever markdown I want up here. Let's see, I want an image. It's going to give me a little hint for what I need to put in. I'll leave you a link to this so you can check it out. I haven't really done any cool posts yet. I sort of explained how I built this blog. It's kind of taking this little mini lesson to the next level. You can see how you can kind of do something similar by customizing the output. This is my version of a block quote. I added these icons because I can customize any output, so forth and so on. I added my own tooltips. See, you can see my own tooltips have their own little style to them. Here are my links, my inline code, and you'll notice my code right here looks cool, so forth and so on. I will leave a link to that, but as far as we're concerned, we come here, run our tests, we're passing all our tests, we're happy. You can totally add more cool features to this app. You could add, maybe you want to add a button that clears everything. Maybe you want to add a button that clears everything up here, just without any style on it. We'll just add a button real quick. On click, you want to make a separate function for this, but we'll just say this.setState. This is for speed. Markdown is nothing. So now you've got a clear button where you could clear the text. You could set something up like that. That's pretty a cool feature. You could set up something where you can maybe save the markdown you did, or post a link to somebody, add some colors, buttons, whatever. You can add a lot to this, but this is how you get it done. Markdown's pretty cool. I showed you some cool things with CSS. Now you know how to use a bunch of different packages, React, Marked, and Highlight.js. So hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned or check out my older videos for more, mostly stuff on React. A lot of stuff on these free code camp projects, and a lot of more complicated stuff on full stack apps with Express and GraphQL. So, check me out. We'll see you later. Peace.